thing to keep in mind is that a child abductor is very smooth in approaching the child. One that has been, or some of the lures that have been come to surface more recently, especially if you watch talk shows like Dr. Phil or Oprah or so, right? The puppy dog lure is a big one. In other words, a child abductor, a predator goes to a playground. He looks for the child or a group of children that are not supervised by any parents, or at least are not close enough, right? And usually, the props you bring as a child abductor is a leash, a picture of the cute little puppy dog, and you got to think of a name of the puppy dog. And most children will be caught completely off guard when you tell them, "Hey guys, can you help me out? This is my little doggy. I should have brought a picture, just pretend, okay? Picture of a little dog, cute dog. And his name is Toby. It's Toby, my dog. And I just saw him run over there behind the bushes, I think. Can you guys help me find him? And just call Toby. Toby, come here. That's what he's used to." Your child is not likely to see through that easily, right?
Children love animals.
Children love animals, and they love to help. Most children, and that's what a lot of child abductors will do, is they will elicit the help of the child, and the child feels somewhat, flattered. It's unique. It's all of a sudden you feel like you have something to contribute, right? So most children just fall for this hook, line, and sinker. Right? But if you role play it, there's a chance your child is going to recognize it. Now, and that's the one very important thing, especially with young children. If you explain these issues to your child, it's going to probably be in one ear and out the other. Right?
Exactly.
If you are not going to role play it, then it's probably not going to stick.
Which makes a lot of sense, because a lot of times in the school when we do the child abduction seminars, parents are surprised at how much their child didn't know, or just kind of went along with us.
Right, absolutely.
Didn't even...
We've done it repeatedly in child abduction seminars where parents come in and they think, well, my child is pretty much prepared, right? And they probably got a couple of reminders on the way over to the seminar,
Exactly.
right? Because nobody wants their child to look bad. And then we often stage it a little bit that before the seminar even starts, we already have one stranger, supposed stranger, one of our staff, of course, comes in, not in our uniforms, right? So it could be anybody as far as the child's view is concerned, and they actually are usually successful in luring several children away.
Yes.
And a lot of parents get very surprised by that, right?
Exactly.
And that's why we role play the specific situations, one at a time at the karate school when we do this. Right?
Because besides the common lures for the puppy dog and the candy,
there's money. Money is always a big motivator. It tends to make the brain stop thinking. Right? Good one is directions. A lot of times, and that is a very, you have to really take that one serious, because this means that the predator can stay in his vehicle. In other words, your child is walking down the street, he's walking down the sidewalk or something, and a child abductor pulls up next to the child, rolls down the passenger window, and asks for directions. And most children, again, will stop and talk to this child abductor, and it's very easy to get a child to lean into the car a little bit. And if let's say it's an 8-year-old child, if the child abductor can grab your child's arm, he's got your child.
Well, you had one on here, asked to help carry something, which reminds me of something one of my students said a long time ago. It was right after Halloween. They were walking home from school. A guy comes up, his car, says, "You know what? I have so much leftover Halloween candy in my trunk. Right. You guys want it?"
Right.
Of course, they had been in my class with me for at least 6 months. They already knew what to do, and they took off and ran. But that's
Yeah,
that can happen.
It's an excellent example, right? You also have, of course, the emergency lure. In other words, coming up to a child and saying, "Jimmy, are you Jimmy? I just, got a phone call from your mom. She's got in a really bad accident. She's at the hospital. Come with me. I'm going to bring you. We're going to go to the hospital and visit your mom."
Exactly.
Right? That's so likely to rattle your child's cage so much that it's likely to bring melt down all the defenses. There are some things you can do about that. There is a famous password, but unless you practice that on a regular basis,
they're not going to.
Exactly. In an emergency situation like this, you're not guaranteed that your child is really going to adhere to that. Right? But it's nevertheless a very good idea. If you practice it on a regular basis, it's very effective. In other words, it's a word that only only your family knows. Can be any word. Let's say the word is banana, right? And anybody that you ever bring to pick up your child, You make sure you drill this into your child's brain.
The child has never seen that person.
If the child has never seen the person, then the child should ask, okay, well, if you're going to pick me up, what's the password?
Exactly.
Okay? But again, in an emergency situation, that could be difficult to rely on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of other things that you can do about that.
One of the big ones, I
Mhm.
kind of think, because of nowadays and the technology age, is internet.
Internet, really big thing.
Internet, chat rooms,
Absolutely.
MySpace.
Absolutely, it's really becoming an issue nowadays. And the thing with the internet is really that you just have to monitor what your child is doing on the computer. There is no, I wouldn't really so much focus on the safety tips to your child, saying look out for this, look out for that. I don't think a child is going to be seeing the signs not nearly as easily as you as an adult would. So you have to monitor, especially if your child is in a chat room. That's where it really happens,
Yes,
right?
I have students that come to me, that are on the internet, that have a MySpace, and I've heard quite a few times that people portraying themselves to be a certain person, a certain age, are really not that person.
Right. So if you have a 45-year-old pretending to be a 9-year-old, then you know he's up to something. Right? Now, also pretending to be an authority figure is another
Yes.
one. You know, somebody can put on a security guard uniform. You know, if you're in a security guard uniform at the mall, you know, that's most children will think that it's genuine.
Mhm.
Right? So, and again, that's something that's hard to prepare your child for. Because they're used to, listening to authority figures.
So would you say, should they, let's say something like this happens to a child, they do get abducted, let's say they have access to a phone, what would be your advice? Should they learn,
I'm glad you asked.
911, zero operator?
Matter of fact, when we do child abduction seminars, we emphasize that section much more because I have the philosophy of if a child abductor really wants to abduct your child, they will probably succeed. If they focus on your child and if there's any window of opportunity, they will probably succeed even no matter how much you teach your child, especially if it's a young child. Now with 12, 13-year-old, they usually, you can get, recognize the signs. An 8-year-old can be tricked very easily.
Mhm.
Right? So the first thing to do is you should find out, here's some things you can do right now, or as soon as your child comes home from school. Does your child know your area code?
Very important. They know their phone number, but do they know
Right.
the area code?
I cannot even tell you how many, I can tell you the percentage of children that don't know the area
Yeah,
code. It's
we've
about
seen
90
it.
to 95%.
Mhm.
Right? Every time we do a child abduction
We
seminar,
get them with that.
first thing we ask, what's the area code? They don't even know what an area code is, right? So they don't understand if they were in San Francisco and they had to call home, they would not be able to do it.
I actually think what's very, very important too
Mhm.
is making sure that they don't put their names on backpacks, lunch boxes, anything that exposes their name, because a person that comes up to you and calls you by name, you're most likely not going to be afraid of that person.
Exactly. Do not put your child's name anywhere big. Right? Now, if you want to make sure that you don't lose your child's jackets and stuff, to put it somewhere in the inside, put it small so it can't be seen just by looking at your child. Right? But yes, if you have your child's name big on the backpack, then that's giving a child abductor obviously a free
So you
ticket.
believe that's true?
Yeah,
Okay.
free ticket, right? The same thing holds true, by the way, for answering machines. Even students of ours, even the parents are sometimes guilty of that. You have it sounds cute to have your 4-year-old recorded on the answering machine. But when he says, hello, this is Mickey, I'm not home right now, and neither is Janie, and neither is Maria, right? Now you just gave away a lot of information that you probably don't want the average child abductor to have.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cute and it's dangerous. That's
That,
good to
and
know.
probably if they answer the phone and no parent is home, don't, if you don't know who's on the other line, don't say, oh, I'm just by myself, I'm home.
Absolutely. And again, that's something we're going to really have to role play. It's usually best to tell your child, don't answer the phone.
So that would go back to make sure you put your kid or your child in as many stranger danger classes as possible, or what you can find?
I would. If it was my child, I would, any stranger danger class I am aware of, I would put my child in it, because repetition is really the master of learning anyhow. And without repetition, this is not going to stick. If you have your child even once a year in a child abduction seminar, it's probably not enough. So either you have to do something yourself, and you have to role play it with your child, probably once every week, or just find as many opportunities to put them into it.
Not that I'm coming back to us, but we do excellent child abduction classes.
We do indeed. We do indeed. And I think we covered most of the things on there. I think we have to go to a commercial.
Oh, yes, yes. When we come back, learning disabilities. What are the first signs? What are the remedies? What's new?